AFTERBUZZ TV Bar Rescue fans, tonight's episode, Keven Undergaro, Gabby Loren, and the title of the episode is We're Gonna Need a Bigger Boat.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, AFTERBUZZ TV Bar Rescue fans. Keven Undergaro here. Joined again by the lovely, the talented, the beautiful Gabby Loren.
Thanks, Keven Undergaro, for that awesome introduction.
I thought tonight's episode was amazing, a Bar Rescue.
You mean Sunday night's
Sunday nights.
episode?
I'm sorry. Sunday night. I had the upfronts for NBC.
Right. You have a lot going on, Kev.
Yeah, in New York, this is the time of the year that everyone goes out and tries to sell their shows to advertisers. So, unfortunately, it's a place that guys like me have to be around. But I did get to see Bar Rescue. I also watched the show Life in Debt because I was at the hotel and I didn't have DVR, and Aaron Carter was on. Do you remember Aaron Carter?
Oh, from the Backstreet Boys?
Nick Carter.
Or Nick Carter's brother.
Little brother.
Yeah.
He kind of had a little tiny career. And, it's hard with these shows because, the host he seemed like a nice guy and he seemed like he knew what he was doing. And the premise of the show is helping people out of debt, which is a decent premise. But the problem is that John Taffer has set the bar so high that unless you can get John Taffer to or someone like John to do these shows, you're not going to succeed. So it was compelling. I watched it because I was interested in Aaron's life. If it was a celebrity-based show, maybe I'd be interested in the celebrities. But, I tried. I was hanging in. But the only reason I'm saying that is because I wouldn't have watched the show if I wasn't at a hotel. But I was at a hotel.
Did you find it interesting?
I found looking at Aaron's life interesting and some of the moments they created. But it's just so hard because Bar Rescue and John have set the bar so freaking high.
Yeah.
So we have someone of John's talent.
It's hard to put someone back to back with his personality.
It's tough.
He grabs you in.
I mean, Gordon Ramsay, 100%, but this is why anyone who knows show business will tell you the business is run by two things. And I've told you this before, Gabby, talent and ideas. Mm-hmm. So you can have the great idea, I'm going to rescue a bar every week. That's great. But you still have to have the talent, which is you guys, the people who are on camera and that people like, that people buy into. And with John, you get those things. But then with John, you also have this like genius level knowledge. I mean, last night he dropped like 3 or 4 things that I just
stats everywhere.
And I just
he hits you with them,
right? And it's like, and he says it's bar science, but there was no such thing as bar science till John. Like John invented bar science. So anyway, it was kind of.
He even had stats on the local neighborhood. He said 8,000 cars drive by this bar every day.
Well, and you know what, Gabby, if you're ever starting a business, the smart people who start businesses, that's how you begin. If our business is going to be on this corner, you take that time, you spend weeks sitting on that corner, looking and seeing who's going by, so that's the basic stuff. But
do you really?
Oh yeah. Well, you haven't done it yet, but if you did,
no.
Yeah, that's what we would have you do.
Wow.
But
did you do that at AFTERBUZZ?
Well, with AFTERBUZZ, it's different because we're not retail.
Okay.
So it was.
That makes sense.
But what I did appreciate though was the fact that I wanted to be on a main fairway that people were always driving by, so that we would also get advertisement. So I know our marquee outside our studios. I know it's seen because I get people bump into me, bigwigs bump into me all the time in Hollywood and say, "Oh, you're over on blank street."
They've seen it. That's great.
Because they've seen it. So for me, it was I liked the sign space rather than being like a lot of other, even YouTube, Space LA, and a lot of other digital companies. They tend to go into, say, office parks, warehouses, things like that.
Right.
It's great for the space, but it's off the beaten path. I like the idea with us that we're in the thick thing, so people can see us, and so even just fans and consumers drive by and they'll say, "Oh, AFTERBUZZ TV, what's that?"
Two very important things with a business. So it's the location
Yes.
and the signage.
And the signage. Yeah, but these are the things that, you know, people take for granted. But getting back to John, he doesn't. But even just some of the finer stats, he just was whizzing out in the show. I don't know how 110 shows in, I'm still learning stuff. He's still dropping knowledge. So it's
That's why he's an expert.
He is. But then he's got the great personality. And you have to be compelling to watch. You have to have an it factor too. So yes, there could be guys that know how to fix a bar, how to get us out of debt, how to, which there's no one knows how to fix a bar like John. So with John, it's like you're literally getting a perfect storm, because you're getting someone that is the best at what they do. And then you're getting somebody that also is amazing on camera. And then he's a great storyteller too, if you notice. He really knows, he really knows, and he cares about people. So it's really tough to find that. And so you can have the best idea for a show, but if you don't have the talent, it's tough. So when I see a lot of these kind of shows that are in this rescue space, everyone wants to jump in it because they want to have the success of Bar Rescue. But I'm like, well, it's just tough if you don't have John.
Don't touch Taffer.
Don't touch Taffer. Or touch him, but you can't throw a lot of money at him or something.
# don't touch Taffer.
Anyway, that was just something. But I did see it. I was not able to DVR. Like normally, when I DVR the show, I can pause and take my notes. But I did see it. And I did love the episode, and it brought my fiance to tears. This episode. So
Wow.
Yeah.
What part?
I think to talk about his dad,
and doing something in memoriam and keeping it alive.
Well, and also, she felt as though the podiatrist, the doctor, was really just a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah.
And we don't always see that in Bar Rescue. And you could see he was a nice guy. The fact he was hanging with Gary.
I think he knows work ethic since he went to med school, and that's obviously very hard to go through in years of education. So that discipline has taught him to be, he was very passionate, but also not aggressive, but the opposite. Passive. He's passive.
But a hard worker. So
but a hard worker.
So that's what made it interesting.
Yeah, and he was willing to accept change and go with the flow and listen to John.
Well, like you said, to achieve a level of success like podiatry, think of the amount of hours that goes into that, the amount of studying.
So he's used to hard work.
And I have to say, not to stereotype, but Greeks tend to be very hard workers. And that's why it's kind of funny. I said to Maria, no, this family's gonna get it right, and they're gonna be okay, because they have the Greek work ethic, that's gonna come through. But anyway, we start at the top of the show, and we see. And by the way, I knew the outside was dumpy and all that stuff, but I loved it because I knew he'd be able to do a ton with it, because it just was a lot. It was a big, wide open, had its own parking lot. So I was like, I think this is going to be a great renovation. So I thought the bones were good, but obviously it looked, needed paint. It needed, the sign, everything was.
It's definitely older, more vintage looking.
Right. You're being nice.
Yeah. But it reminded me of a bar that would be by the water or have water influence.
Right.
By the ocean and the lake.
It's so funny because my fiance, being Greek, she was like, wait, that she knew the exact area that has the sponge trade. That's something.
That is something.
That they do. They're known for the sponge industry.
I didn't know that. Another piece of information from the show.
But the fact that they lost from the was it the BP from the oil, it really.
Yeah, the BP oil spill caused them to lose their customer base.
Right.
A lot of people lost jobs, so their local neighborhood was never the same after that.
Never the same. And then John was like, okay, well, let's see, can we go after tourists? And then John was like, can't really go after tourists. But one of the interesting stats he mentioned was that he said 67% of tourists will get advice from a local on where to go.
Yes.
Kind of cool, right?
Yeah, it was cool.
Again, another thing I didn't know. But we go inside and we see this manager who, Gary, who is it just reminded me of like one of those big guys that probably had the big keychain, and they walk really slow, and then they pull out the big giant keys, and then they open the door, and unlock a few other things, maybe turn on some lights, plug in some things. Then I think it's pretty much sitting down for the rest of the shift until everyone leaves, lock up.
Well, we know Gary is a best friend of Manny and was appointed to manager because of their friendship after the dad passed away. But it seems that this was just an opportunity he was given because of his connection to Manny. It doesn't seem like he had any managerial experience.
No.
He was just thrown into the job.
But he also wasn't working.
And he wasn't capable or interested in learning how to be a manager. So it's one thing to get the opportunity.
What was he interested in? Period.
He was never interested. So that's what I'm saying. It's an interesting dynamic that, Manny trusted him with this position, but he didn't want to even put the work in to become a great manager for his best friend.
No, I think, like I said, just whatever job that guy like that has, it's...
maybe at the time he just needed a job and a friend was helping a friend out.
And it's a warm body, and I think because Manny was a nice guy, he just probably said, oh, this guy... Oh, because he DJ'd, right? Didn't he? Or something? Did we see him on the DJs? I get confused. I've seen so many episodes.
Wait, Gary DJing? I hope not.
No.
I don't know. They might have said that. Fans, if you know, please comment and let us know.
I felt like... Anyway, but...
I hope he wasn't DJing, because I don't know if I would pay to see him DJ.
I know, you wouldn't, Gary. I can't see that happening.
Yeah, Gary.
So
spin those tracks.
So we don't have a kitchen, so we don't really need that. We don't need a food expert. We've got alcohol. We've got the great Phil Wills. So as you get to see this, he's one of the 30 or so people that come in to fix the bars.
For mixology.
Yeah, he really knows his stuff.
He definitely knew what his stuff was. He came in. The first thing he did was swipe that tap beer. And it's so funny because I remember the last episode we did together, you said, Gab, I don't really like going into bars and getting tap beer. I'll always go for the bottle unless I know that it's clean. And it stuck with me. And when I saw that, I was like, whoa, that's so interesting. Keven said that.
Yes, so you see the tap all rusty.
So now you know.
Now you know. And then you've got a half renovation, but... and they claimed it was 3,000 or 4,000. The sisters was like, no, 20. And
it's sad that Manny didn't even know those numbers.
No, and it was just lumber and wood, and 2x4s exposed, not painted.
How is that $20,000? You could have went to Home Depot and got some wood and gotten some, nails.
Unless they hired people and got taken advantage that way. I don't know. I could see some of the...
So weird.
Some even of paneling, the brick, that wasn't even real brick in the background, that was paneling. It was just a real crappy half-ass attempt. Shout out to John Daly. You probably don't know John, but John Daly is a professional golfer. Did you know him?
I didn't know him before the show, no.
Okay. He's brother-in-law, obviously, to Manny, and married the sister. And John Daly is, he's big time. Famous golfer. This is his 5th marriage, so shout out to him.
Oh, wow.
And he was funny where he goes, it's his last one. I said, why? Good. I said, Ree, why is that? She said, no, Greek girl. That's it. Oh. He's done.
Once you go Greek, you don't go back?
She's not. Well, he just won't get out. Like, that's it. He's done. But one of the things I want to say to Spike, where's the promo for John Daly? You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean by that?
Did you see promos?
Oh, you mean like advertisements in between? No.
So you don't know the golf world, but like John Daly he's huge. He's a big celebrity.
Yeah.
And
they definitely went to him a lot during the episode.
No, I know that, but you don't. But there was no
additional.
Promo. We didn't know. All we knew is that we were going to some whatever, like a place that was half built.
They didn't kind of talk him up.
No, it should have been
be
special guest John Daly joins John Taffer. You'll never guess what. Blah blah blah.
Maybe they didn't want to give the bar away.
No, somebody dropped the ball. No, somebody was lame. Somebody dropped the ball. And you're on a guy's network like Spike. Come on, everyone on Spike knows John Daly. He's a huge partier, a very controversial, polarizing figure, and then golf. He's trust me. Everyone knows John Daly, and anyway. I was like, well, this is great. He's on, but I can't believe like he just appears and there's no promo.
Like he was a co-star instead of a star.
Not even. It was like he just popped in. It was like whatever. That's a side note. That's not necessary for the after show. I'm just saying. I'm just surprised at Spike, but.
It's okay. We're all about side notes here.
Yes, nice surprise to see him in there. And then he had, so he married the sister. And then it was funny. I did some, shout out to Bar Rescue updates. They give a little backstory. So the one sister was yelling and screaming. Chrissy. And I apologize, you guys, if I'm getting this wrong. One of the sisters ended up suing the family.
Afterwards.
No, between 2008 2011.
Oh, okay.
It was estranged, and then that's why she said, I have been away, but I'm back. Remember she said that to him?
Yeah, the brunette.
Yeah.
Curly hair, Chrissy.
What'd you think of their fights, her and Gary?
I think it was extreme. She's an extreme woman. I think the way she approached it, I understand her frustrations, but it was hard to watch because they were right in front of the customers, creating a spectacle between inside the bar, outside and front, blocking the entrance. That is definitely no way to show that you're welcoming people inside.
Yeah.
So I think it was a little inappropriate. Normal management, regardless, you're a co-owner, you're still in management. You should be pulling him aside to
Always.
a back room to call him out, not in front of customers you don't know personally.
When you have when you've been at odds with boyfriends over the years, were you the type that would yell and scream in public, or would you?
I don't think I've ever yelled and screamed in public.
Okay.
But I'm an anomaly.
You're an anomaly. The reason
I don't like drama.
The reason I ask is because usually when someone does that, it's extreme narcissism. Because you don't care about anyone else around you. It's just all about you, and. The only thing I will say in this situation is that we have to keep in mind that they did lose a father, and you can
Maybe
see
they're struggling with stuff
she's
from
emotional. That. She's not. I mean, she's not in her right mind because it's her father. So I'd like to give her that, but I will say, I would put her what she was fighting about was well intended, So I was rooting her on because she was 100% right, but
she's not John Taffer.
She's not, but she was still right with what she was yelling about, but it's still not, like, as you said, it's not something that you should be doing. You pull him in the side room and scream at him. But she might have been at her wit's end. It might have been the emotions with the dad. But if it's not those things, I might have to put a little asterisk. Might have to put something in her human resource file for the future, knowing that she's capable of that. Like, she may not be the best thing about that bar. She may not be.
Well, that's why I was surprised John Taffer didn't say anything to her because I would have expected him to call out her behavior too.
I think the guy was so wrong, and I think it was the fact he was so wrong. And then she's defending her dad, her brother. It's just when you even know stories of moms, but it's like you're. When it comes to family, things are different. And you're a female, it's like you're the mama lion. You got to protect the cubs. I mean, I think that's probably what John sensed.
Mm-hmm. And Manny didn't even really step in. He kind of laid back a little bit.
Because he's that nice guy, like we talked about. He
doesn't like conflict.
Yeah, doesn't like conflict. But we can see that as... You knew Gary wasn't going to make it, right?
I mean, I thought maybe there was a chance he would come back, but he was out of it. He was so embarrassed and humiliated by what was going on and how much shame was put on him that I don't think he wanted to step foot in that bar ever again.
What about all their inventory? By the way, you know what I love is interesting is that the place was half done, kind of a pit, but do you notice the closet was pretty neat and organized?
It was actually.
Yeah, like just weird.
It's because no one's been in there.
But it's just so funny. And there's $22,000 worth of stock. Well, that's another fun fact from John Taffer. Only 17%, right? Wasn't it something like that? Only 17% of your stock should be stored.
These were the stats I have. So there should be $4,000 to $5,000 in inventory back there. But they had $22,000 total, and they had $15,000 worth of dead stock.
Oh, dead stock. That's another thing. I never heard of dead stock.
Neither did I.
And did you hear what John said? John said, this is what liquor salesmen do. So they'll come to your bar, Gabby. But Gabby, listen, I've got this new rum.
sales
It's
reps.
amazing. Blah blah blah. You've got to buy it, and you know what? Like you buy 12 of them, you're gonna get a great price.
Right.
And
They sell it by the case.
I remember there was a guy even in the carny business to come by and sell cleaning products, and he would just come all the time and just oversell me on so much stuff, but because I was a clown, I enjoyed his company and the way he talked and everything, and so I used to overbuy from him. But I never knew that in the liquor sales. It's good to know.
Well, good thing for this bar is they were a cash and carry bar. They had other licenses.
Another thing,
So
yeah.
they were able to just sell bottles, which is great. I was thinking they were going to do table service maybe. I mean, not to the extravagance of like a New York, LA, Miami thing, but just something where if, you know, a group of guys were celebrating a birthday or something, they could order a bottle at the table.
Right. But it was great that another thing, cash and carry, I never knew. So it was nice that they moved some of that stuff out.
They could pretty much become a liquor store.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, it's something probably they'll have to be open to. I mean, sometimes when you have economies that are that bad, it was $40,000 a year, the income, which was
average.
Which was under the national average. But, you know, sometimes the sad thing is when you have poor communities, they tend to drink more.
I was going to say you'll find those people more so in the bars than anything else.
Right.
Because even during hard times when the economy's failing, people are always drinking. That's why the spirits industry will never fail.
No, it always does great.
It will always do great.
But even still, if you're selling a vodka or whatever, you know, like you said, in cash and carry, then that tends to do well too. In fact, it makes sense because I do know, and these people happen to be Greek that own it, but I do know people back in Connecticut that have a bar and then right next door is a liquor store. Now that makes sense. And again,
you're saying it doesn't make sense? How do
no,
you
it
feel
does.
about
It does because you're kind of fine either way.
Well, I would say it makes sense if you own both of them. If you don't, then it's kind of competition for you.
It is, but if you own both, and these people who happen to be Greeks do.
Yeah, because someone could just go to the liquor store, grab a shooter, and go home.
It's a great, anyway, great backup to have. But okay, so we've established that. My fiance's in bed just saying to me, she's like, I hate lame people. She hates lame, lazy people. Like she was so over Gary.
Well, what
and she
made
felt
me
so
angry,
bad for Manny because she said, I know he's just trying to be good to his friend.
Right. He didn't know what to do. But what made me so angry was when John Taffer would ask him questions that he should know as a manager. He had no answer.
But you knew, right?
All he could say was, I don't know. I don't know.
By the way, just look again. He comes. I told you what he does. He comes in. He opens the door. He turns on some lights, and he sits. And then he
watches the game on the TV
screen. Watches the
screen.
game, cashes out. You know, hopefully doesn't put any money in his pocket, and locks the door and goes home. That's all he's doing.
He is probably in the 20% that don't agree with the show.
Probably, and I like how they made him. It's funny, even though they were. I thought this was kind of funny. You knew that bar was getting torn down. You knew everything was, but they still made him paint it.
Yeah, with a little paintbrush, they were definitely punishing him for that.
Right, because you knew the bar is getting torn down. There's no way, John. What's John going to do with a homemade bar? He's not going to, you know.
I love that he made him do that. To me, I knew straight away that they were going to tear it down. They were just making him do work for the first time in his life.
Do something.
And we're kind of punishing him because even just the symbolism of giving him a little paintbrush as opposed to a normal size one, it was going to take him longer to finish the project.
Here's one thing he did really well.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? So now I'm going to be the manager of the AFTERBUZZ TV Bar Rescue show.
Okay.
Okay, so you're hosting. Ready? So here we go. So I'm going to go over here.
What exactly am I supposed to be saying?
You're supposed to be hosting the show.
So
yeah, good job. Good job. Keep it up. Let's keep the energy up.
Thanks, Kev.
Yeah.
So anyways, what I really liked about this was that John Taffer came in and he was able to turn it around. So then they do the recon.
Yeah, keep it up. Yep, good.
We have Manny that leaves.
Listen, we fans that are listening to the show, Gabby, they need to hear the information. You got to get the information out there.
Wait, I'm confused what point you're trying to make right now. And you're making me lose my train of thought.
Didn't you see when they yelled at him? That's all he did, is he went and just cheered the girls on.
Oh, yes, in the bar.
Every single time. That's all he could do, is he went over to them and clapped. Come on, guys, we got drinks, we got to get out.
You're so right.
Let's
When they
get 'em
had
out.
the people come
nothing,
in.
didn't move. And I was like...
And they kept saying, Gary, pineapple juice, we need this. And all you saw was him still clapping people on.
Yeah, just saying, guys, come on. We got a lot of people here. We got to, you know what?
And then John was like, Gary, do you know how to make these cocktails? And he said, I was painting today. I didn't learn the cocktail.
Yeah, no one trained me.
No one trained me.
Yeah.
That was the best. Some of these lines in the show crack me up.
I'm telling you, as you get deeper in this show, it's so addictive because people are such... I know, you're laughing, but it's true.
And even before you had to paint the bar, John Taffer was like, this bar is like raw wood. Can you even clean it? Yeah. You can't clean raw wood.
No, you can't. In fact, it absorbs. It's going to absorb the germs. It's going to absorb
which is another gross factor.
Everything. But...
Even after he painted it, it didn't matter.
No. Yeah, unless you use a gloss paint, then you'd have to clear coat it. There's like all stuff you have to do.
But he didn't do that.
No,
we know that.
No. But I thought it was good.
Too many steps for Gary.
I liked when he was a cheerleader, though. I thought that was cool when he was cheering people on. And I said, God, I think tomorrow when I host the show with Gabby, I think I'm just going to cheer you on.
That's hysterical.
And have you host the whole show.
Until Dorinda backed out on us because of a doctor's appointment.
Yes, by the way, you'll shout out to Dorinda, our host of many, many seasons, is coming back to the show. Thank God. 17 years bartending experience. And a huge, huge fan of the show. So it will be great. We lost her today, but we will have her back next week, which is very exciting. And I will be able to now be like Gary. I'm going to have my
You are absolutely not being like Gary.
I'm so going to be Gary on the side, just cheering you guys on. But it was like, I knew he was gone. They were just holding him up. It was like they held him up as long. It's almost like a boxer. You just, when you're just beating the crap out of somebody and you hold the guy up so many rounds to make it look like a good fight. So to make this a good show, he was being held up. And then finally,
Well, after this all happened, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of Gary or his work ethic, but I was really upset to see that he left and he gave up on his friend and his friend's family, especially being that he had the connection to the dad. I just thought it was a lame cop-out.
That he left.
But
he was kind of in a no-win scenario.
He wasn't in a no-win scenario,
but there's nothing he could do. Right? What could he have done? Gab, what could he have done?
Shape up like the other people on the show.
Yeah, but
on other episodes,
physically and mentally, he was up for
he
any
must
kind
be
of
going through
shaping
something himself. Why is he so lazy and not caring?
I just think when you're that late in the game in life, and that's how you've been. How all of a sudden is he going to wake up now and be?
Well, he just lost a job.
Yeah, he just. I don't know.
In a community where I'm sure it's sparse.
Yeah. He lost his job sitting on a stool watching sports all day. Yeah.
I mean, he's never going to get hired anywhere else now for that.
Out he goes. Very interesting. Couple of other shout-outs, too, for the show. And I love where they step away from format. And they go to visit his home. They visit the mother, the matriarch of the family. Manny's mom. And I thought that was really cool. Usually we don't do that, but the fact that they went out to the house and had a meeting at the house, I liked it. I thought that was a really nice.
Now we know that's probably where Maria and Dorinda got emotional.
Yeah, Maria got emotional
with the mom
that.
being involved too.
Yes, and anytime they talked about the dad, and when they got to the new bar, Maria just bawled.
Oh, that was beautiful.
She was bawling because because she knows what it's like to have a family business and what it's like for a family to struggle together, and to have this John come in and do that,
And it was like a gift for the mother, It's a gift.
Oh my God, the dad's legacy. So let's
legacy,
talk about.
Kids.
I loved the exterior. Was gorgeous.
Me too.
Right? Yes. Amazing.
I loved that it was very bold. Everything stood out the way they chose to do the color of the building, or the bar, I should say. And you know how John usually likes to display what they feature inside, like cocktails, whatever they offer.
Right.
He had it in white writing. It was just very it stood out.
Right.
It stood out, and that's what's going to get people driving by to come in to your bar. And they added the food truck, which was genius.
Right.
Wood-fired pizza, thank you. I'll take that any day with a beer.
And then did you see what they did with the windows, the round windows? They turned them into like portholes.
I loved it.
It was amazing, and I love when John doesn't change the name. Or he alters it just a little. I like that. So
I don't think he could in this situation because of the legacy for the family.
Maybe, yeah, the bridge and making it, but making it now the bridge of a ship, which I thought was amazing. But it's nice that it's always nice when he doesn't change the name because it's easier for the people to kind of get along and go along. So when he changes the name, it's just
controversial.
Oh, you just get these petty people who are like, it's my baby, it's my name, like, but exterior amazing. So then we go we see everyone react and start crying, but then we go inside and they're just flabbergasted. And by the way, this was another great renovation because they tore down, they had to start from scratch. They started with an empty shell. Normally, if you notice, they'll take I'd say more than half the episodes, they'll take 75% of the episodes, I think, they'll take the existing bar and reskin it or dress it. This was like they wiped all that stuff out and they started from scratch and built up.
There wasn't much in there in the first place.
Well, but you
to
still
work with.
Right, but it wasn't much to work with at all. But they had to physically build a bar, which isn't easy to do, especially in that short amount of time. But to have built the bar.
And the tribute to the father with the portrait.
Yes.
I mean, it was very inviting.
Yes.
Very.
And it made me feel that even if a business like that didn't make a ton of money, but if it made enough, and you were going in to work with your family, and you saw your dad's picture there, like I'd be okay with that. You know what I mean? I'd be okay with that. And but even let's talk about the colors and the mood. I thought all of it was amazing.
Me too.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the restaurants you would go to when you were younger, where it was either on the water or by the ocean, and it was dark and intimate, but also warm and inviting. Right. And the seafood would always be amazing. Reminded me of that feeling, like a seafood restaurant, but with a bar instead.
So this one I pretty much knew that we were gonna have a successful renovation, and then we go to the black screen and we see in the black screen that, they're making money. The liquor sales were up $30-something thousand, I believe.
I believe so.
But
I didn't get those details down on here.
I went on Bar Rescue Updates and was pleased to find that the majority of the reviews were positive. People really liked the bartenders because the girls there are cool or fun.
The uniforms are awesome too.
That's right. Thank you for saying that.
Sailor uniforms,
very
super
nice,
cute,
fun. And they were saying the reviews were also saying how much they loved the renovation, how clean it was, all that stuff. Because I knew, again, Greeks, I know they would do the work, keep the place clean. They would have the good work ethic. But it's funny, there's certain places, still smoke in bars. And the couple of negative reviews I saw, that was their bad thing, is it smelled like smoke.
That stinks.
Yeah. But
literally, no pun intended.
Yeah, but there's still, I still don't understand how in this country we still have places. I get like in Vegas because the casinos and whatnot, they allow it because that's how they make their money. Smokers gamble more.
It's really unfortunate because people that don't smoke, or let's say have a medical condition, asthma, for example, it stinks for us because we can't go in and enjoy ourselves.
The worst.
It ruins the entire experience.
Ruins everything about it. It's one of the things that I so appreciate about today is that we've wiped it out of bars. Yeah. Because it just used to be so bad to go home and shower and have the stink come out of your hair.
Even now, every now and then, you'll still have that happen at certain places.
Really? Why? Because it's half outdoor?
I don't know if people are sneaking it or if it's half indoor, outdoor. But the places that abide by the rules, it's usually if you're outside on the patio, it's okay. Or outside. Indoors, not allowed. But people sneak it everywhere. You just never know.
But it's not like what it used to be.
It's not like what it used to be. And Europe is
Gross.
Horrible, because
That's
that's all
why-
they do there, smoke.
It's one thing I didn't like about Greece was that they,
Yeah.
because I loved Greece. I loved
Everyone
visiting,
smokes
but
in the
I didn't-
bars.
I didn't like that, the smoke in the bars.
They even have areas in the airport boxed off for
Oh,
smokers.
it's so gross, right?
It's like you're in a box of smoke contained in the
Yeah.
middle of the airport. You can't wait.
And no, and they can't. And then there's like, and it still stinks up the
It's
surroundings,
crazy.
you know. So that was, but you know, it's hard because you're dealing with fishermen and regulars, and their whole life is drinking and smoking. So
And they still incorporated the family aspect to the new bar, where they had the drinks that Phil created,
Mm-hmm.
where it was Harriet's Island Bliss, and they had Anna's Crush. I don't know if you would know this because Maria's Greek, but is Ouzo a Greek thing?
yeah, it's a Greek liqueur.
Okay.
And
No wonder
people-
why.
Yeah, it's funny. It's big part of their culture. At least they say that. But then, I don't know many Greeks who actually drink it. Like it's a novelty item.
Well, Greece
it's like
is on my list.
Do you drink Manischewitz?
I have had it, but I don't drink it anymore.
That's what I'm saying. So I think it's like that.
I think everyone tries it once, at
Right.
least.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, like Italians have anisette, but they don't really. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like so. But overall, successful rescue, an emotional one.
And Manny was manning the bar finally.
Right. And Gary was gone.
And Gary was gone.
But yeah, he didn't even have, you know, by the way, when you have like Greek sisters, like it's like Italian sisters, they're most of the time they can, well, you can have the princess ones too, but you can get the ones that are hard workers. They were workers. So he was in good hands. That's why I knew it was going to all be good for this one. And so it was good. So hopefully now, so we satisfied our quotient of emotional, but now hopefully next week we either get a douchebag or a wackadoodle.
I love wackadoodles.
Wackadoodles are the best. You know, shout out to Pirates, Wonder Bar, you know, my butt, and you guys know how I feel about that. So just fingers crossed in the next few weeks they deliver me a wackadoodle. But I'll take a douchebag too. I don't mind them.
I mean, they're both great, but let's get another wackadoodle for the count.
Wackadoodle, Bar
There's
Rescue.
so many characters out there. I'm sure we could find one.
It's hard. Yeah, it's casting. It's all casting. And
It is all
usually we do
casting.
such a good job on the show, but then it's hard because you have the posers too, who are pretending now to be, because they just want
Yeah,
their bar
you need
renovated. So you have to,
authentic.
so you have to vet them. Not easy. By the way, just like we said, there's only one John Taffer. There's only one-eyed Mike from One-Eyed Pete from Pirates. You know what I mean? So you don't just find those people every day. There's only one crazy lady from Wonder Bar.
It's true.
You know, you don't find them every day. Gabrielle, where do we find you?
So, guys, you can find me on Twitter at Gabrielle_Loren or Gabby.Loren on Instagram. What about you, Kev?
And Undergaro. As always, guys, check out the Tomorrow Show. Mondays and Thursday nights, we have a lot of fun. Gab, you're going to be over there at some point, I know, having fun with us. But next week,
Always down to do it.
I know you are. You're a good girl. Dorinda should be back next week. I did see there's a couple fighting. The guy looks like he could be a douchebag. The preview for the episode, it was pretty quick. So fingers crossed, but, you know, we'll be back no matter what, right?
Yeah, we'll
All
be
right,
back.
Gab. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.